Attention, please.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Skin and 10. Today, we're going to mix it up a little bit, talk about some current events, some serious, some a little lighthearted, but just kind of keeping the flow to keep you entertained and informed. So first up, we're going to talk about the Derek Chauvin case and the verdict of guilty on all accounts. I know for me, I did breathe a sigh of relief.
You
I
did.
think mostly because obviously he should have been guilty, but I also think that had the jury not given him a guilty verdict, then the entire country, maybe even world, would have erupted.
Oh, I felt the intensity in the air. I knew it was going to be guilty, but for us to even be nervous about it or to be like, let's wait to hear if it's going to be a guilty verdict, I mean, that lets you know right now that the justice system is not equal for all of us.
I think the only reason he was convicted as guilty was because of the climate of our country and our world right now.
Wow, like everybody's
Yeah, I think to be the lone dissenter is setting you up for backlash, safety issues for you and your family. So I think people on that jury really had no choice but to do that. But I think that after they say, okay, well, we'll give you your first 2 police officers, but then we're going to speak up. I think you'll start to see, maybe hung juries or maybe even an acquittal. I think that right now, because everyone is so afraid of the cancel culture, the mob mentality of social media, I think the safest thing to do is just shut your mouth and go with the crowd and kind of hold what you really feel to yourself. I don't think we've progressed that far where you don't get one person out of 12 that kind of feels a different way. I think that people feel that way. I think people do disagree with a guilty verdict that were even on the jury, but I think they were too afraid to speak up. And I think we'll start to see that once we progress into the other police officers' trials.
So do you think that once all this stuff if it does die down and is no longer in the mainstream media, this is when we're going to start getting hung juries and people with different opinions? That makes sense because when people are watching, everything's different, right?
Yeah. I think as we progress, it's not as mainstream. We're not paying as much attention to the trial of Joe Schmo, the police officers' names we don't remember.
Right.
And I think people will really start to kind of show their true colors. We want accountability, and I'm glad that we're starting to see it with this one case.
With this one case.
So I think until you do a reform of the criminal justice system.
I thought about you. You made a great point many months ago to me saying that we shouldn't depend on people's opinions and on people, being fair. That's why there's rules and there's law. Because a lot of people have opinions about, should the officer get convicted or not. And it sounds crazy. When you start listening to people and their conspiracy theories, I thought to myself, you know what? That's why we need laws. Because the law is the law, and I'm not going to depend on you to be kind. I'm not going to depend on you to be in agreement with me. If A happens, B is going to be the consequence.
Let's talk about how Ma'Khia Bryant was recently shot by a police officer. She's Black. He's a white police officer. There's that, racial tension already once you hear that.
Right.
Not even knowing the circumstances of the situation. This young woman is now dead. She's 16 years old. She's essentially a child. Did she have to be shot by a police officer given the situation that was happening in front of the police officer when he showed up?
That we all lose in that situation. It's just heartbreaking no matter how you dissect it. But the first thing I said to myself, Britton, is, I hear she lunged with a knife at another person. The first thought I thought was, well, what if it was me on the other end of that? Or worse, what if it was Hart on the other end of that? You know what I mean? If you're the person receiving that with that knife, how do you feel? Should she lose her life? No. You go back to, getting jumping people. Let's start from there. Jumping people, that's whack. You put somebody in a position to go get a weapon, So, either way, you break it down, you try to find fault, like, she shouldn't have got jumped. Okay, well, she shouldn't have grabbed a kitchen knife. She called 911. Okay, the police, did he have to do 4 bullets in the chest? Could have been 1, could have been a rubber bullet, could have been a taser. It's really hard to say when you're entering the situation that's already unfolding. The police entered a situation, it was already escalating and things were already happening. So it's like, it's just sad to me, it's heartbreaking. And do I feel that, of course, the police should use lower methods of constraint, sure. But again, a knife is a deadly weapon.
According to the law, an officer does have the right to use deadly force when someone's life or their own life is at jeopardy, which technically this falls under. Now, the circumstances around it is a totally gray area. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't know if that's the right word, to see how this investigation moves along, because, while you can say, if someone were lunging at me with a knife, please take care of that person. Help me out.
Okay, really?
I don't want to be stabbed to death.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I am the one lunging with a knife because I'm protecting myself, then don't shoot me. I'm trying to protect myself because they were attacking me.
Right.
So there's that situation where you have to, there's so many layers to it. I am sure we don't even know the half of it. It's really hard to say. I mean, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I mean, could he have ran over and grabbed her arm before she stabbed the girl? Well, I mean, maybe if he was FloJo, I don't know how long it would have taken him to do that. I don't really, it's hard to say, was it racially motivated? I mean, we had the shooter of that, that white kid that shot up that church where, he shot and killed everybody and he still didn't get shot. They put him in a car, took him to Burger King before they took him to the station. So, there's a lot of ways to kind of compare it to other cases. But if you look at it in its, totality, I think one, you have to have all the information, which we probably don't really have. But you almost argue either side. I mean, like I said, if I were the one on the receiving end of a knife, I would want you to shoot this person or get them off of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing of it is, unless we reform our police or criminal justice system, you're really not going to get any better answers than what we're describing right now. It's just going to be people's opinions and they'll say guilty or not guilty at the end of the day. But I think until you say, maybe police officers shouldn't carry guns, right? Maybe they should only carry guns with rubber bullets. Maybe they should only carry tasers. And there's a separate entity that carries guns and they come out after the blue cops come out. It's all a conglomeration of just a very unfortunate situation. I don't know.
Right. I agree. Well said.
Speaking of unfortunate situations, celebrity splits. A-Lo is a no-go, is no-mo. Your girl.
Say it ain't so.
J-Lo don't play. She is the Elizabeth Taylor of our time. She is here for the right now, Mr. Right Now. Okay. If you ain't.
What happened now? What happened now?
Girl, what I had heard was she was like, I can't trust you. I can't be in a relationship where there's some hit to my trust. And so that's it. I don't even know that there was an actual event of infidelity, but I know she felt as though she couldn't trust him. So she was like, I can't be in a relationship where I don't trust you. And that's it.
I think she was just done with him. It's really hard to be in a relationship when it's purely elective. J-Lo don't need nobody for nothing. Okay. You don't need anybody when you're that rich, both of them. Yeah. You don't need to build with nobody. You have your separate empires. And if you're not satisfying what I'm looking for right now, adios.
Then you move on. Yeah, no, that's actually a very good point. This is all voluntary at this point. We don't need each other. So why would we stay unless you're giving me that one little thing that I really, really need? And that's probably just companionship. And if I can't trust that our companionship is solid, then it's Splitsville. So I get it, girl. More power to you, Elizabeth Taylor of today.
Right? It's like, that. But you know what? I actually thought that they were going to make it.
I did too. They were so perfectly matched, it seemed. That's another thing. What you see is not always what it is. I thought that they were the it. I was like,
I thought they were evenly matched, as far as their culture, their backgrounds. And it seems like A-Rod is just as ambitious as J-Lo. I just, thought that they would make it.
Who's not needing somebody right now?
Who?
Kim Kardashian.
I am not surprised at that. I knew it was a matter of time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's break this down though, because I mean, there is a component of mental illness, right? I honestly feel like Kim gave it a good go. I really do.
You
Particularly,
tried, huh?
yeah, I think she did, particularly when it comes to the fact that she had to deal with mental illness. My thing is you divorce when you can't take it anymore. And it is very unique to every individual. Whatever your it is, when you feel like you just can't take it anymore, I think that's when you leave. And I think for her, dealing with someone with mental illness, and then you have children that you have to take care of, you have your own sanity that you have to take care of. I know you say in sickness or in health, but I think sickness is a little bit of a gray area. I mean, sick, like you dying of cancer, I'm gonna be by your side. But what about infidelity? People leave for that reason. Nobody bats an eye at that. But if someone leaves because there's, mental health or something like that can't be helped, I think you get scrutinized a little bit more. But I'm down with the Kim squad. I'm on the Kim Kardashian.
Me too.
Because you know what? You do as much as you can do until you can't do it anymore. And she has her family to think about as well in this picture, and making sure she raises healthy, well-adjusted children. So I think if her leaving Kanye is the best for her and her children, I think she should do it.
Especially when somebody has mental illness that's not compliant with medication. For Kim to put up with that and deal with that, you know what I mean? Because you got to really know that mental illness, bipolar. She has to know everything about it. But if you're with someone who does not want to take their medication, who doesn't want to get help, just like if for any other issue, if you're an alcoholic and you don't want to get help, if you're, a woman beater and you don't want to go to anger management, you don't want to go to counseling with any issue, any addictions that you have, any illnesses that you have, if you can get help and don't, it wears and tears on the whole family. So it's tough. And so I do commend her for hanging in there as long as she did. And then sometimes you need a big loss in your life to say, hey, I better take my medication. I better be well if I don't want to continue to lose the people in my life. And maybe for Kanye, maybe sometimes when you have a mental illness, you need to step away from everybody. Maybe that's healthier for you, the patient, because it's like, I can't meet your standards. I can't do what you want me to do. So let's split while it's still kind of friendly, and maybe they can salvage co-parenting later. One thing that Kim has, that a lot of people don't, is family support. Okay. Yeah. She, and that's another thing. When you have good family support, it's hard for a man to run up in there and just mess everything up and then run out.
Kim got that money too. If she don't have a tribe, she got money. She will.
Okay, you can buy you a tribe. Okay, you know what, guys? All right, until next time.
Doses.
Attention.
I have a question for you.
Yo.
How do you manage your time? Like, you look beautiful, you look well rested, you look happy. In the midst of, everything that you do, how do you find time for yourself? Like, what do you do to recharge? Do you have a week, a day where you just kind of just check out? Like, how do you?
I check out every day I come home from work.
Wait, you're so funny, Brittany.
My kids are on their own. Okay, I'm in my room. Don't bother me. Get out.
That's so funny.
So from 3 to 7, don't talk to me. At 7, I'll come out my room and I'll get some dinner going, and then go to bed. But that's the truth. I ain't joking. I ain't lying.
Yo, you don't.
Right now, you fuck. Okay, you fuck until he gets older. Maybe when he get about 5, you can.
Girl, you was like every day when I come home.
Yeah.
Ow.
What, y'all have a good day? Okay, I'll be in my room. And let me know when y'all hungry. Later.
Girl, that was girl, how many people can relate to that shit? Oh, bitch, it's easy. Every day I check. Oh my God, that woke me up. That is what I needed.